Hello everybody, and I suppose Happy New Year. Next up we trek over to the worryingly unsafe away section at Selhurst Park, where we'll be hosted by Crystal Palace. Kick off on 1st of January, which my diary reliably informs me is New Year's Day, is at 5:30pm. Now, even more so than usual, I'd advise checking before you leave if you're going by train, particularly if you're heading for Selhurst or Norwood Junction from Victoria, as Southern Railway are not running anything in and out of that particular terminus. No change there then. So Palace then. They are, as regular readers will be aware, from Croydon. The club name probably being a deliberate attempt by the original owners to distance themselves from the bankrupt eyesore that has been responsible for such crimes against humanity as the output from the Brit School and the former Mrs. Percy. The council's ongoing financial problems seem to have been exacerbated by the payoffs given to senior employees responsible for the council's financial problems. It seems that this has extended over the years to Selhurst Park, which, based on past visits, has been an accident waiting to happen. It remains to be seen what sort of state the place has been left in since our last visit. Whatever, I don't suppose whoever is left working for the council has had the bottle to think seriously about the ground's safety certificate. Just take care when you're inside there. On the pitch, I was slightly surprised to see their current form stats when Daisy brought them through, as I thought they'd been doing better than they actually were. They started December much as they ended November, with consecutive away defeats at Leeds and Manchester United making it 3 defeats in a row. The slide was arrested slightly, with a 3-1 home win over Everton and a 2-2 draw at home to Southampton. COVID put paid to their trip to Watford before they went down 3-0 to Spurs at the Toilet Bowl. The other day they picked up their statutory 3 points in a 3-0 win over Norwich, all of which has left them in 11th place with 23 points from 19 games. This is a point behind their made-up rivals Brighton, who also have a game in hand. Palace's star man this season has been Conor Gallagher, who's having a season on loan there from Chelsea. He's got 6 goals in the league this season. He was rested for the Norwich match, which says a hell of a lot for how people are treating Norwich these days, especially when you consider that Zaha was missing through suspension following a typically petulant display at Spurs. Norwich are clearly now treated as an extension of the League Cup these days. Gallagher it was who was on target twice in the 2-2 draw up at the Olympic earlier this season. Summer signing Odsonne Edouard was on target against the Canaries the other day. He's not been over prolific since his deadline day arrival from Celtic, the Norwich goal being his first since October. I'm sure he won't be the last to discover that the gap between Scottish football and the games south of the border is more of a chasm. The fact that he's got a conviction for shooting a passer-by from his car with an air rifle suggests something of the nutter about him, especially since the €24,000 fine still hasn't been paid according to some sources. Manager Patrick Vieira may be absent from the ground on Saturday, a positive COVID test preventing him from coming within spitting distance of anyone for a week or two. Welshman Ossian Roberts will be at the helm within the ground at the weekend if Vieira doesn't track down a lateral flow test in time, though no doubt there'll be some sort of techie solution. Presumably those newfangled telephone devices provided by the GPO will be available. On the injury front, they'll be without Joachim Andersen, hamstring, James MacArthur, ditto, Eberechi Eze, COVID, and Michael Olis with an unspecified illness. Nathaniel Klein has been absent with another unspecified issue. Strange, that one. Let's move on, shall we, to the wild and wacky world of association football. And we pay a rare visit to the People's Republic of China this week, where the government has taken time out from gently reminding its citizens that democracy is not for them, with a large stick, to issue an edict that bans professional footballers from the national team from getting tattoos. Furthermore, they've recommended that players have the ones that they may already have to be removed. Over here, I've often wondered who was the last professional footballer in England not to have a tattoo. I reckon that particular landmark occurred roughly the same time as the last goalkeepers played without gloves. Meanwhile, John Terry has been appointed as consultant to the youth setup at Chelsea. Pinging noise you just heard was the snapping of the words role model beyond their breaking point. Let's move on to us. Well, we had a bit of a shocker against Southampton, didn't we? Good to see Antonio back on the score sheet, mind, but there was precious little to take out of that one. Perhaps if we're clutching at straws for something good, we might argue that Rice's yellow card came at the right time. His 5-card suspension, meaning that he missed out only on Watford away rather than anything more testing. Talking of Watford, that was much, much better, despite giving them an early lead when Dawson decided to take a little sit-down after 3 minutes. Soucek's goal, which had been coming, was a consequence of his being released for a more advanced role in the absence of Rice. Noble had a good game, and although he wasn't on the score sheet and had to cope with a total lack of protection from the officials, Antonio caused the Watford defence problems all day. The bonkers decision to award Watford a free kick when Antonio was pushed by one Watford player into another would have been hilarious but for the attacking position the home side found themselves in as a result. Bowen was of course outstanding. We're down to 4 on the injury list. Ogbonna and Zuma are long-term absences. Zuma is looking though at mid-January for his comeback. Cresswell's chipped bone in his back is not something that anyone would want to see rushed for fear of permanent damage, whilst Fornals is also desperately seeking a lateral flow test, being the latest player to test positive for COVID. I have 2 tests here, by the way. Make me an offer. So let's move on to the prediction. As their league position suggests, they are a bang-average team who've got this irritating habit of sometimes being a bit hard to beat. However, there were signs of a relocated mojo in the Antonio area at the weekend, and they are also the sort of side that he loves playing against. On that basis, I should be placing the £2.50 I was going to invest in a tattoo removal business on an away win. Please, Mr. Winston, let's call it a tight 2-1 to us. Enjoy the game.
Right, so we're here in the offices of a Late Late Show with the host of a Late Late Show, James Corden.
Hi.
Big West Ham fan.
Yes. And big knees up Mother Brown, man.
Yeah.
Get on the forum at kumb.com. Come on, you irons.